Hey everyone, and welcome back to Immunity Blueprints Summit. This has been an amazing journey so far, and today is no exception. We have been really looking forward to this discussion today. Here with us today, and by the way, I'm Lynn, and you know my co-host Emily. We are here today. We're honored to have this guest with us, Shiva Golzadeh. Golzadeh.
Golzadeh.
Golzadeh.
Yeah, you can just
I can say it when I'm looking at it, when I'm speaking it out loud without anything in front of me. Golzadeh.
But you can just say Shiva. We don't even have to say the last name.
This is everyone's Shiva.
Yeah.
And Shiva is the founder of Crystal Alchemy and the creative director of Alchemy for Humanity, which is a wellness center up in Montreal, Canada. Shiva is a domestic abuse survivor, and after spending years battling her own demons, Shiva began to heal herself from these destructive patterns of self-hatred, self-sabotage through practices of meditation, of forgiveness, and of crystal therapy, which I didn't know had a name before, but I know it now. Is it Lithotherapy?
That's right, Lithotherapy.
Yes. So, Shiva, if you could tell us even a little bit more about yourself and how this journey unfolded for you to bring you to get, your interest in the alternative approaches.
Sure, absolutely. So my story did begin in 2008 at the very tender age of 26, in a very confused phase of my life as well. So I am a survivor of domestic abuse, and at that time, where the whole story unfolded was after one pretty bad final domestic abuse fight where I ended up landing in the hospital with fractured ribs and eye fracture. I couldn't go to work as a result of it, and being completely bored out of my mind, having to stay home, I ended up going to the library. Once I got into the library and I was just walking through the aisles looking for a book, this book, just out of nowhere, fell off the shelf, landed on my head, and landed on the ground. And when I picked up this book, and I read, this is very interesting, and I read the cover of it, it was actually The Power of Positive Thinking. This is the book that landed on my head. This is actually the book that I took from the library, and I never ended up returning back to the library as a result of it. And I've had this book over a decade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when I got this book, I ended up taking it home, and I read this book cover to cover, word for word. I was highlighting it. I was writing things down. I had a journal. I mean, this book completely ended up shaking something inside of me that I didn't even know was there. And it ended up somehow manifesting a strength in me. There was actually a prayer in this book that they ended up mentioning about, and the prayer was something in the line, and I'm just paraphrasing here, that the power of God is within me, and if the power of God is within me, then nothing can hurt me. So just guide me along the way every day. And I would read this prayer every day that I would go to work, every day that I would come back. And within a period of 4 weeks, I ended up accumulating all this strength that I didn't know I had, and I just built up the courage to leave this relationship after 4 years. I called my mother. I said, Mom, you got to come get me. I'm not in a good place. This is not safe for me. And we had a baby at the time. He was 18 months old. I said, we got to go. So I left that relationship. And for the first time in my life, after so long, I finally had the sense of freedom. I was finally felt that I was free and that I was safe. But other than my name, I really didn't even know who I was anymore. I couldn't even recognize this person that was looking at me in the mirror. I had no idea who this person was. Smiling was so hard for me to do. I mean, just smiling, my cheeks would shake, like tremor, because I had forgotten how to use these muscles. I was in a very dark phase of my life. I was very confused. There was a lot of anxiety inside of me. I was constantly feeling tired, and I didn't have a job anymore. I was back in another town, and I had to start over, and it was really difficult for me at that time. And all I was really looking for was to find happiness again. I just wanted to feel happy. I just wanted to feel peaceful. I just wanted to gain my confidence back, and I just wanted to be loved. And I didn't know at that time that wanting to be loved meant that I had to find self-love. So I think my mom, after a while, was just so tired of seeing me in that phase. And she's like, Shiva, you know, this is not good for you. It's not good for the baby. You need to snap out of it. There's a meditation center down the street from us. How about you go? And at that time, I didn't know anything about metaphysics and meditation and movement. I didn't know any of that, you know, just lost in my little bubble. And when I went to the center, I ended up meeting my first teacher. And from there, it's like a whole different world and opening up for me. And, you know, synchronicity, once you're in the flow of things opening up for you, synchronicity just opens the door, and it's like a new world that opens up to you. And I remember walking down the street one day, and I didn't even know this metaphysical store was right by our house. And all of a sudden now I see it. And I walked in there because this forest felt like it was just pulling me inside. And when I went upstairs, my eyes went like straight to the books, and then it went straight to the crystals. And then I was just drawn. And I remember picking up my first crystal. I picked up an amethyst, and I picked up a tiger's eye. And it's like instinctively, I just knew how to work with them. And I just started, you know, playing around with them. I started putting them in my water. And all of a sudden, after like a couple months, it's like things just started shifting for me, you know, with the meditation practice, with working with crystals. And then again, synchronistically, you know, I meet another teacher, then I meet another teacher. And then next thing I know, I've got certifications in body work, certifications in Reiki, certifications in therapeutic yoga. And then I met my teacher, Dr. Lily Raman, and then I'm certified now in lithotherapy, and I got my advanced teachings in therapeutic counseling. And now pretty much I work with women, and I teach them how to regain self-love, self-acceptance, and happiness and confidence through the ancient art of crystal healing. And this is where we are today.
Wow, I've got goosies, you guys. I've totally got goosies from the minute the book hit you and everything else.
That was amazing. Wow. So you mentioned lithotherapy, and so did Lynn, and we didn't know what it was. We know what it is now.
Yeah.
But can you explain a little more what it is and what the origins of lithotherapy are?
Absolutely. So lithotherapy, I think the word of it is more new than the actual practice of it. I mean, crystals have been around forever. You have references of crystals in the scriptures. The scripture talks about onyx and amethyst. And, you know, these are stones that have been around for so long. We've heard about Cleopatra using the lapis, and, you know, they would put it down in powder and put it on their body and their eyes. And you know, crystals are nothing new. Now, the practice of lithotherapy itself is working with the vibrations of colors and crystals, either using it on your body and putting it in your environment. Crystals in general, they carry such a high vibration, and us already being vibrational beings, when we come into the presence of these crystals, it elevates us on a higher frequency. So it's really hard to feel like, you know, you're vibing so low when you're around things that are vibing so high. And this is ultimately what the practice of lithotherapy is using these non-invasive tools. And again, I have to point here that these are tools, right? It's not some magical thing that's going to completely resolve your life overnight. It's not. Crystals are tools, just like meditation is a tool, just like exercise is a tool. All of these tools help us work through our emotions. It helps us be able to face them and work through them on a different perspective. And it does require you to have an open mind. It does require you to have an open heart. And it does require you to be open to a very new experience. And the second you open yourself up to these new experiences, again, synchronistically, by chance, you know, all of these things now end up just shifting in your life.
Yeah.
You know, there's doctors in the medical field. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dr. Richard Gerber. No, he's the author of alternative medicine. No, he's a doctor of alternative medicine, and he wrote the book Exploration Vibrational Medicine. So he's an MD, he is a medical doctor, and he started dabbling into the metaphysics. So over time, he started to learn more about Reiki, more about body work, more about energy touch healing, and about crystals. And he started to incorporate all of these tools with his own clients in his medical practice. Now for him at that time, it was something very new. So a lot of his own teachers didn't believe in any of this, but through his own research and through his own practice, he ended up writing a book about this, really sharing with people how these tools can really help us on our healing journey, you know, through those, a lot of discomfort or immune problems in the system. Using these tools really helps us shift all of that in the body, and now the body is feeling a lot stronger, especially on an energetic level, because a lot of things usually end up happening on an energetic level, right? When there's the imbalance in the body, it all starts to manifest energetically. If we don't deal with this on an energetic level, if we're not dealing with our emotions, if we're not dealing with all of these triggers within us, this is what ends up creating all of these diseases and discomforts in the body. And the more we don't work through them and the more we don't face these triggers, the more the body is going to end up shutting down, because then it doesn't know how else to communicate it to us other than just completely shutting down.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned immunity. I was going to ask you, you know, what the benefits are of lithotherapy as it relates to immunity, but are there specific, and if you can go a little deeper into that, that would be great, but are there specific crystals that are used to boost your immune system?
Absolutely. So regarding the immune system, I mean, we already know stress is a huge factor, right? A lot of us are dealing with a lot of stress. You know, our days are 24 hours, but we act like we don't have those 24 hours in our lives. And it's like, we're so mechanical. Get up, go to work, get the kids ready, you know, drop them off at daycare, then go to work for 8 hours, if not 10 hours, come home, hurry up, get them dressed, make food. And then I have no time for myself. And then we rewind and we do it every day like it's a Groundhog Day, right? It never, ever, ever stops. So the body now doesn't have this time to be able to slow down and just kind of process what's going on, because now the body's been activated, and we've heard of this, the fight and flight response, where the body is constantly now in fear of danger. The body is constantly thinking that there's something going on, when in reality, there's really not thing going on that's really that dangerous. You know, it's not like a wild animal is attacking us and we've got to run for our life into safety, right? But we're acting like we're constantly are, and as a result, the body now is going through stress. Then it's susceptible to flu, it's susceptible to bacteria, to viruses, to parasites. Let's not even get into the kinds of food now, because we don't have time to do anything now, the kind of foods that come into our system. Then you've got the overload of that. Now we don't hydrate our bodies, you know, we're more into the coffees and the sodas and the grab and go. So now you've got more stress imposed on the body, and we're not doing anything to alleviate or detox any of that from the body. So now you've got layers upon layers of all of this gunk that's happening, and now the body is completely shutting down. Now, the practice of crystal therapy here comes in the sense that when we create this very safe environment for our clients to come in, we're letting them, first of all, know that it's okay that if you have these suppressed emotions to come up, expect them to come up, expect them to be ugly. No one said the healing process is supposed to be easy, and if they do, I think they're lying. The healing process is never easy, and it's going to get ugly before it gets better. And when we create this safe environment for our clients to come in, to be able to just step away from the world for a moment, and as they close their eyes, they completely tune into their body, and just like taking a deep breath. And I mean, the breath is huge, and I really teach this a lot into my practice as well. When you take that deep, and then you just that sigh of release automatically lets the body know that it's okay to just drop and just, you know, I can finally just let go of whatever it was that I was hanging on to all day. And right away, when you start doing that, then the blood pressure drops, then the feeling of stress drops, then the body has time to recover. And it's in these moments of just really surrendering and coming into a peaceful state and allowing yourself not to receive, because you're constantly just giving, throwing out there. Now you're in this environment to be able to receive now, not just from somebody else, but from yourself. this sense of calmness, this sense of peace, allowing yourself to find a sense of security in the body, right? Because the body talks to us. The body is very vocal. And I'm sure you know, because the body talks in the language of pain and discomfort, or, excite me and goosies, right? So this is the body's language. This is how it talks to us through sensations. So when we come in this state of relaxation, now the body is receiving, and then we slow down the breath. And as we do all of that, we calm it down. Now the body has a time to heal. It has the time to recharge. It has the time to renew. And when we do this on a regular basis, by just giving back to ourselves and to the body now becomes stronger from the inside out. The body then learns how it can start dealing with stress by breathing, dealing with stress by slowing down, dealing with all of this anxiety or even fear and doubts by putting your trust in something that can elevate you. And I usually tell my clients and my students that, crystals, right? These little crystals are created by Earth. These things are frequencies of the earth, but it's also frequencies of the Most High. And a lot of the times where people feel lost is because there is a huge sense of disconnection, not just from the body, but from a greater purpose, something bigger. And I also always tell my clients that everything you're experiencing from these crystals, it's not magic. It's the energy of the Most High. It's the energy of the greatness of all of this creation. And it's teaching you all the tools you have within you, because you're part of that creation. You're not separate from it. Right. And all of these crystals that we use in our practice is to remind ourselves that we are part of all of this, and that the energy is always there to heal us. If someone is dealing with a lot of pain, one of the things I tell them to do is go to a park and lie down on the ground. Completely just lie down on the ground, take the energy of the earth. You would be amazed within 15 to 20 minutes, so much of that pain and discomfort is going to just drop, because the earth is giving back, and there's that exchange of energy that's constantly going on. And we just have forgotten that it's there. And it's time for us to reconnect and retune to all of that. I mean, this is the time to do it. It couldn't be louder and clearly. Right. It's the time to do that.
Absolutely.
So do you use specific crystals for supporting different things like, immunity or reducing stress or sleep?
Yes, absolutely. So actually we'll talk about sleep here. So I've got here a pretty big piece. So this is a calcite. Blue calcite carries the energy of just calmness and softness. This is an amazing crystal for you to use if you're someone that has difficulty sleeping, if you're someone that has a lot of anxiety and so much stress in the body. Just holding this piece, I know this is a big one, but here's like a little smaller one. Something as simple as just holding in your hand, closing your eyes, and just taking a breath, and just releasing that breath. And then you would just bring your attention to the crystal in your hand. And again, it's intention. Everything with crystals is intention. Intention is so powerful. Heck, you don't even need crystals. You just need your intention at the end of the day. Again, these are tools just like meditation. And the intention, again, is to tell yourself something as simple as, I give myself permission to calm my mind and to calm my body, and to be able to receive a peace and quiet so I can rest peacefully tonight. You can put one under your pillow. You can put one by your bed. Blue calcite is amazing for that. Another one that's really, really good would be smoky quartz. So again, this is another big piece. This would be a tumbled version. So this is something more people would have access to. So smoky quartz is really good to help clear a lot of the electromagnetic fields that's around us, computers, laptops, and all of that. I usually have one by my computer. I have one here with my son's PS station too. Actually, one time, this is a funny one. There's another one I have, black tourmaline. That's another good one. These are good grounding stones, but I ended up putting a black tourmaline beside his PlayStation at the time, and ended up busting his PlayStation. Now, I can't claim 100% that it was the piece of tourmaline, but it's a really big piece. I have it in my living room now. Don't tell him, but I ended up busting it, and I'm pretty sure it had something to do with that crystal. I can't of it. But again, I don't believe in coincidences either. But those things, you know, they're very powerful, especially when you put your intention into these crystals, right? So back to the smoky quartz. This one is also a really good one. Smoky quartz, a lot of the black crystals are really good for grounding, right? So a lot of us feel so disconnected. We're all combobulated all over the place. Smoky quartz helps to bring that energy back towards the earth. It helps you feel more solid. Another good technique when you hold a crystal like smoky quartz would be just to tap your feet on the ground. So if you're feeling like you're kind of lost, or you're feeling like you can't concentrate very well, just tapping your feet onto the ground is going to really help ground you. And then something like the smoky quartz, if you've got a piece like this, something as simple as just combing it through your energy centers, right? You just comb it through your body. Now, I don't know if you guys can feel it, but I can definitely feel this. And you just feel like this wave-like sensation, like it's like combing through the body, and it's starting to open up a lot of that stagnant energy on the body. This is really good for that because it helps to reduce a lot of that heavy frequency in the body. Another one that's really good, and again, this is an easy one to find, this would be the amethyst. This would be the tumbled version of it. This is, again, a lot easier to find. So amethyst is another good one for protection, and it's a really good one for meditation. And it's actually good for substance abuse, which was ironically not an accident. I ended up being attracted to the amethyst the first time I ever got into crystals. So amethyst is actually known as the drunken stone. So the story goes that back in the days, people would put amethyst into their liquor so it would help them not get intoxicated when they would start drinking. Or some people would just put it into the liquors of this is another story I read. This woman would put it in her husband's liquor because he was a heavy drinker, and she ended up noticing that after a few months his consumption of alcohol ended up reducing, and she puts it up into the amethyst. Wow. So amethyst is a really another good one to use because, again, it's helping you come back into your meditation. It helps you come back into your focus and your concentration. It is known as a stone for protection as well. So when you are in meditation, you're not going to allow yourself really to open up to a lot of these negative energies. Again, intention being that you're telling yourself that my focus is really just within myself. My focus is to connect to the Most High and allow myself to be guided with every step that I take, with every word that I speak, with everything that I put into my mouth, every action that I take. Let all of this be a guidance of the Creator, ultimately. And again, all of these are tools to remind us of pretty much everything that we already have within our fingertips to help us on our human journeys.
Yeah. Wow. I'm going to have to go get me some of the smoky quartz.
Oh, yeah. This is a really good one, actually, to just pick up a whole bunch of them and put them all over your house, in your purse, in your shirts.
What was the first one that you picked up, the blue?
So this is blue calcite. Blue calcite is a good one. Also, amethyst is also another good one if you have a hard time sleeping. So both of these in your room is a good idea for people who suffer from insomnia. The blue calcite is known, and the amethyst to help them with that.
So fascinating. I haven't ever heard anything about, what each crystal does. I could listen to you all day on that.
Oh, yeah, I could talk about it all day. I'm ready for this. Yeah, I mean, crystals, they do so much. I can talk to you guys a little bit more. We have something like quartz, Quartz, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Marcel Vogel, but he's known as the IBM man, and he was all about the quartz, and he would even mention that quartz in the hands of the wrong person can cause a lot of damage. This is how powerful quartz can be. Quartz are in our computers, they're in our watches. The earth has provided us with everything that we need at our fingertips. There is no lack of anything. The idea of lack and scarcity is a human concept. It's something that they've made us believe, that they've put into our heads. They feed us with it nonstop. but it's really not true. And we've become so materialistic over time, thinking that we can survive without, X amount of this and X amount of that. But the truth of the matter is you can survive, and you're meant to survive, because everything that you need is right there at your fingertips. You just got to step outside and open your eyes and stop looking down and start looking up. And then the guidance will be given to you. Our instincts are there for us all the time. We've just forgotten to connect to it because we're always out there looking for answers, when the true answers are really within, and it's silencing all of that mental chatter that's going on nonstop, and, with the news or with the media, and just letting that bombard you. And if you don't take the time to step away from that, just turn it off, mute it for a second. You're going to notice how much better your body is going to feel instantaneously. If you were to listen to the news every single day for 5-6 hours straight, that's going to make you sick. It's going to bother your body. It's going to hurt your body. Your body's going to not know how to defend itself because your focus is so out there. But if you shut it off, just try shutting off your TV for 3 days. Just do that and go for a walk every single day for about an hour. Just put your hands into the grass, touch a rock, drink some clean water. Just sit in silence, and you don't have to do anything. Just sit in silence beside a tree, or just sit in silence in your own living room and just start concentrating on your breath. Do that for 3 to 5 days, and I guarantee you're going to feel a huge shift. And coming back to the TV is going to hurt a lot more at that point.
And, in the TV, you may not even realize it, but when you're constantly being bombarded by, these ads and stories on the news that are going right to your primal fears, right?
Yeah.
Those very basic fears. And you don't even know that inside your mind, there are these, oh no, help me, save me from the saber-toothed tiger going on. And it's creating all sorts of chemical reactions in your body just by having those thoughts. But you mentioned, get out and move, and movement. And I do hope you also talked about, just go sit on your couch, shut things off, just sit quietly. A lot of us are being asked to do that right now, asked to stay on our couch. That's what we're being asked to do. We can do that. But I'm hoping, my hope for people is that they will take that opportunity to do some of these things, don't stare at the TV all day. Go lie down on the grass for a half hour with your kids.
Discover your backyard.
Yeah. And just
so simple.
It's so simple. I actually advised someone the other day to just start laughing in front of your son for no reason.
Yeah.
Start laughing and see what happens. Right?
Laughter is really the best medicine, and this whole concept of being locked in right now in quarantine, and I understand that people are asked to be, or feeling like they're locked in, but that's not an excuse to lock yourself up. It's not an excuse to use this opportunity as an excuse to just shut yourself off from the world. It's really not. Something as simple as opening up a window and just looking outside can help. They're not telling us you can't go for a walk right now. Anyways, they're telling us at this point, just don't go around in big groups and have big parties, just, be mindful and just don't do that. But that's not preventing you from going outside and taking a walk around the block. It's not preventing you from, like you said, just going in the backyard or on your balcony and just sitting out and getting fresh air and clearing your mind in the process. At this point, no one is asking us to hurry up, get up, go catch the bus and go catch the metro just to go to work and sit there for 8 hours. Things are literally asking us, it's time to really slow down. And again, I reiterate, look up, look up into the sky, look up at the clouds, start looking up. There's so much information and wisdom up there, and people are too busy being down here and putting on their blindfolds, and just, you have to make a conscious shift. I was just talking to a client yesterday, and I told her, if you want changes in your life, you have to be the one to consciously make them. It's so easy to talk, Talk is very easy.
Yeah.
And it's the action that's going to ask you to do the work. And I know it's the action that's the hardest part, but it's the action that's going to literally show you the changes that you're wanting to see. I mean, something as simple as drink 5 glasses of water. If that's so difficult, and fill up 5 glasses of water, leave them on your counter, and as you're walking through the day, just completely chug 1 cup and you're done. And just doing something as simple as that every single day,
Yeah.
I guarantee you, you're going to feel a difference in the body.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And by the, all these things that you're talking about are good for the immune system. And Emily, I'll stop talking a minute because I know you have a question coming. But getting out in nature, I mean, literally, there are certain chemicals that the plants release that when they get into your bloodstream, they boost the cells that fight off disease. So, I mean, it's true when you breathe in that full breath of air. You know, I mean, I was just listening to you breathe in earlier in the discussion. I felt relaxed hearing you take a full breath.
Yeah.
Really, I felt more relaxed just hearing another person.
Yeah.
You know,
I couldn't help but join you. I was like,
I
I had to join you.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I love doing this so much. Like if you watch my lives or you come into my classes, I'm doing a lot of this more on my page. It's just open to everybody. Everybody could come at this time. And I make such an emphasis on the breath, like, because I know it's like a yawn, it's super contagious, right?
Yes.
And I know that if I take that big breath and I let go with a sigh, it's not just me releasing, it's a double dose of release. You release, and then when you release, whoever is beside you has this opportunity to release, and it just impacts everybody in your environment so positively that it's a shame not to do it. It's really a shame not to do what God has given you, which is the breath, right? The breath has been with you from day one. The breath is going to stay with you till your last day, literally. You know, there's nothing the breath cannot do for you and with you. And again, we take it for granted. Breathing helps the immune system so much. You know, it drops cortisol levels, it drops your blood pressure, it helps bring you into a more clear state of mind, it helps with your focus. How could you not use one of the greatest tools the greatest creator has ever given you? Why would you not want to tap into that? Because it's
free.
like, it's free.
It is.
It's in abundance. You know, and you just can't do enough of it. I mean, man, the breath just never stops for you. I mean, how much more of a gift can you ask for than the breath, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You talked about getting out and walking, and you teach the importance of moving and stretching.
Yes.
But, you know, can you explain just how powerful it is as far as how it helps us to relax and boost our immune system? I mean, we're always told you need to move, you need to exercise, that, we're wearing things that count our steps, but why is it so important, especially for our immune system?
Well, when the immune system is not in homeostasis, it's irate, right? The immune system is being pushed to work at a level where it's not meant to work that hard. Again, you're creating ground for disease. You're creating ground for parasites. You're creating ground for sickness. The body is not meant to be sick all the time. People who are very stagnant, who don't do any form of physical activity ever, they become more and more lethargic. That ends up putting so much pressure on the body. That stresses the body. The body ends up gaining weight as a result of that. Right. And then when the body ends up gaining weight, that puts a lot of the pressure on the joints. Right. And it's like, ends up becoming this like domino effect of just the body ends up breaking down and shutting down and shutting down and shutting down. Your body is one of the most advanced computers there is in this world. Your body is capable of doing things that we haven't even yet comprehended what the brain and body can do for us. You know, we only have this little minute understanding of it. The body has the ability to heal itself on so many levels. And we take all of that for granted. So when you take the time to move, to get up, to stretch the body. Now the body, not only is it becoming more mobile, but it ends up building a lot of this immunity in the body. The body ends up being stronger. It can fight sickness. It can fight diseases. If you're not mobile, your joints get stiff. You have a hard time just even opening up and stretching your arms. Why do we allow ourselves to do that? This body, as I was saying with the breath, it's a gift. It's a gift given to us by the Most High. It's not meant for it to be stagnant and just sitting there doing nothing. We are mobile beings. We are meant to move. We are meant to create. We are meant to go from one place to the next. So movement and stretching, as you start doing that into the body, not only is it benefiting the body, not only is it stretching the ligaments, not only is it helping the fascia in the body, right? I mean, we sit behind the computer, the fascia gets tight, the hips get tight, the sciatica nerve ends up acting up. If you don't move any of that, you're just asking for the body to keep breaking down. So when you end up stretching, taking the time to, just 15 minutes, you don't have to do it for hours on end, just 15 minutes, certain stretches that you can do is going to stretch that out. It's going to open up the fascia. It's going to get the breath to move into the body. Once the body now is moving, the body is getting stronger. The body now knows that it can become flexible, and then that flexibility is not just physical. It ends up becoming emotional flexibility. It ends up becoming mental flexibility. You become more open to things because, what goes on inside ends up reflecting itself on the outside. As above, so below, right?
Yes.
There's not one without the other. So it's just a never-ending flow of benefit when you give the time to give back to yourself. And these are all self-care practice. Exercising is very important. Releasing toxins in the body. Again, I was talking to a client the other day who's on meds, and these meds are making her not want to be mobile, not want to do anything, right? She's not hydrating herself. And, water is needed to release these toxins. No one is saying if you can't, stay on the meds. We're not here to give any sort of medical advice, but there's things that we can do alongside those things that can benefit us, that can really help the body. And if you've got too much accumulation of those toxins, again, your immunity drops. You're not able to help the body heal itself, to make the body stronger in any which way. So the water helps to flush out the toxins. The movement helps to move the energy. Vigorous sports, anything that makes you want to sweat it out, again, also releases these toxins from the body. And again, it makes the body stronger. And that ends up helping the immunity of the body.
Mm-hmm. I used to love, I was an avid runner, and I used to love running in the heat and just sweating it all out. And I just would feel so good because of that, like, kind of natural detox. I think the thing that sometimes people have to be careful about is you can overdo it with exercise. And some people,
Absolutely.
they overdo, and they're like, I'm on the treadmill all day long and I'm gaining weight. Well, that's producing too much cortisol and too much.
Yeah.
So there's a balance, but you were talking about, as you're describing stretching and what happens with the fascia, and, you stretching out your spine, like your whole body can breathe. It's not just you're inhaling and exhaling, your body is literally breathing. And so when you're stretching, are there, and you've got to stretch, you can't just go, oh, I'm stretched, you got to hold your stretch, right? I mean, I hear 20 seconds or to 2 minutes, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Are there things that you recommend for people as far as how long to hold a stretch? What stretches are like power packed? What are like your go-to stretches for people, if there are any?
Yeah. So, I mean, what I like to teach my students when we do our stretching, again, I'm really big on really encouraging people to connect back into the body, right? When you start building a dialogue with the body will speak to you. So when you're doing these stretches, you can hold them for as long as you feel a release, right? So don't just hold it, 1, 2, 3, because someone is saying hold it for like 10 seconds or 2 minutes, and your mind is somewhere else, but your action is here. Again, there's a disconnect. If you really, really want to get a complete benefit from that, you need to tune in. So you're putting mind on the action now. So let's say a really good stretch to open up the hips would be when you lie down on your back, you want to hug your right knee into your chest. And as you exhale, you want to bring that knee closer to your chest as you start to breathe into your lower back. So you would close your eyes, and again, you would just exhale for as long as you can. All of the focus where your attention is, so in this case would be the lower back and the hip area. As you're exhaling, you're hugging that knee into your chest, you're breathing into your lower back, and you're directing the flow of energy through the body and releasing it out of the body. So it can come out of the head, it can come out of the feet, or it can come out of the lower back. Again, it comes back to intention, which is very powerful. So hugging one knee into your chest and then switching and hugging the other knee into your chest. These two are really, really, really good to release any tightness in the lower back. You can do another one to open up your hips, is you bring the soles of your feet together and you just open up your knees into a diamond. Again, that one you would breathe into your groins, you would breathe into your hips and into your lower back. And again, when I emphasize on the breath, and the longer you exhale, the more the body is going to find that release. And it's through the exhale where the magic ends up happening. Mm-hmm. Something will just shift. That's a really good one for the back. Side stretches are really good as well. So when you're lying down on your back, you want to be into an L shape. We're just not in a position for me to be able to show you this, or else I'd love to do it. But if you're lying down on your back, you want to take your right knee and you want to just fold it into an L shape, right to the side. So it comes to the side, and you would turn your head to the same side. You could bring your arm over your head, and then you would just breathe through from your fingertips all the way down to your toes, but you want to follow the outline of your body. So what you're doing, again, is you're taking an internal journey into the body. You're feeling where those tight spots are in the body, and if you feel somewhere is feeling stuck, your attention should stay there, and you should breathe through it. Again, you take a deep breath, and as you exhale, you're allowing that energy to flow. You're allowing that tightness to open up, and then you would just keep guiding it through the body and out of the body. And again, you would do it onto the other side as well.
Great, great, great. I like your point about intention. That's really important. I often do that when I'm getting massages, wherever it is that they're working. I just like put my breath there to wherever they're working to help release, Sorry, I know you're going to ask something, Emily.
Oh, no. I just want to know what other movements that you recommend that will build and support our immune systems. Besides stretching, are there any other movements that you recommend?
You can't say there's one thing that's going to solve one thing, right? Everything is a package. Everything comes together that you need to do. When you start incorporating something like meditation, when you start incorporating something like movement, something as simple as just bringing your arms up into the air, exhaling, coming to touch your toes. But if you're doing that with the awareness of the breath, you're creating, again, that strength from the inner core of the body, right? So it's not to say there's one specific movement, because there is not just one specific magic thing, because you are such a piece of everything together. How can just one thing solve all of your problems? It can. Everything becomes a package. So if you're looking for some movements or exercises to do, you need to find someone that's, first of all, certified to be able to work through that. And then, it's hard to really say there's one thing for one person. Everyone deals with certain things differently. What I go through in my body is different than you and all of our viewers out there. So there are specific things that you can ask for to help you. But the key in these movements is connecting, again, the breath and the mind to what you're doing. That's the secret. That's that's where you're talking now, helping the body, helping immunity, helping strength. That's where all of it lies. It's not in one thing. It's in the package and the quality of work that you're doing, right? If someone were to do an exercise, you can do it all sloppy and you'll never get results. It's the quality of the action of what you're doing behind that movement that'll bring you the results that you're looking for.
Yeah. I remember, and you just mentioned meditation. I remember after my injury, I was in a lot of pain after the surgery. And I just was, going to this specialist, that specialist. And I just, for 3 days, didn't have a lot to do. And I meditated and I had the intention of feeling whole. I didn't want to say, I was careful with my words too. And that was just a decision I made, was to not say I'm pain-free, but to think of being whole, and I had that intention 4 hours Friday, 4 hours Saturday, 3 hours Sunday, and Monday afternoon, I realized I had been pain-free for 2 days. So meditation and that vision, that intention, because I could have sat there and closed my eyes for 3 hours and nothing would have happened.
That's it.
You're literally sending, your body believes what your brain is telling it. That was so powerful. So I definitely want to hear you talk a little bit about meditation. And I'm curious too, in your sessions, we'll get to that, but we got to talk about meditation first as well. But do you incorporate all of these, like crystals and meditation and stretching and all of these in the same session at times, or is it?
Yes. So when it comes to the movement and the meditation and the breathing, yes, absolutely. When it comes to the crystals, then we're talking breath. So crystals and breath, and then movement, breath, and meditation. So, and most of the times I do like to incorporate crystals into my practice as well. But again, everything kind of works together. There isn't one without the other. So when we're working with a client who's dealing with a certain emotional triggers, yes, we have them hold a crystal. Yes, I put a crystal on the body, but I also guide them through the breath, because again, without the breath is a source of life. Without breath, there is no life. And you have to find your breath. And when I guide them through the breath into the body, they end up going places in their body they haven't gone in a long time. Or even when we come into those guided relaxations, again, when I guide them through feeling every single little phase of their body, and then taking a breath into it, and then releasing that breath back into the body, they're going in places they haven't gone in a very, very long time. And that ends up becoming a byproduct of benefiting the body. Again, the body now is feeling heard, it's feeling appreciated, it's feeling love. You've got every single organ of your body now. If you bring your attention to every single one of these organs of your body, these organs are alive. The cells in our bodies are alive. Your heart can be transplanted into mine tomorrow. I can have some of your memories. All of our organs are alive, and they need, I can't speak on behalf of the organs, but every cell of your body, as much as it is alive, what you're feeling is what you're intending to them, and they can only give back to you what you're intending onto them. So if you have this mental habit of saying, I hate myself, I have no worth, I have no value, could you imagine, every day hearing that your cells are gonna deplete, your body is gonna shut down, because now it's saying, well, you don't care. How can I give to you if you don't even know that I'm here and I'm constantly giving back to you? And that creates the weakness in the body. That drops the immunity in the body. How can the body save you and help you when you're not taking the time to acknowledge how much the body is giving you? Like in some of our classes, when we do some of the movements, I don't do fast, crazy, strenuous movements, but we do them with so much awareness that the muscles are working. So when we're doing a leg lift and I'm helping guide all of your attention into that leg lift, you're going to feel the burn. Yeah. I also remind them, this is your body's way of saying to you, thank you. Thank you for utilizing these muscles that have been created for you to have this experience. And the second they hear that, it's like, they have this wave of relief. It's magical to hear. And it's like for the first time, they feel those muscles once again in their bodies. And now the muscles are feeling like appreciated because, well, finally I'm being used or utilized just as I was designed.
Yeah.
And now everything ends up working together. And as your body gets stronger, a simple movement of just walking from here to your kitchen, you're using your core, you're noticing those muscles of your core. I mean, you've got a lot of muscles there, and they're helping you move your legs. I mean, a lot is happening in your legs. Just lifting my arm to pick up a cup, do you know how much is going on in that instant? And yet we're not connected to it. But once you learn to connect, just the simple movement of lifting my arm becomes just, for me anyways, it baffles my mind. It's just so fascinating how much is working in there to help me just to pick up a glass of water to hydrate myself. That makes my cells stronger. That makes my core stronger. That makes my body stronger. That's going to lift my immunity. That's going to help me fight off things that are happening out there so that my body can now thrive in my environment.
It's got to be emotional for people when they,
Yeah, it is.
the first time in a long time, reconnect.
It is. And I love that. And again, I like to create that space and I let them know this is a safe environment. It's non-judgmental, because when you come to your healing process, you've got to be willing to be honest with yourself. You have to be willing to feel the pain. You have to be willing to release it because you spend too long holding it in. So when you come into a period where you're ready now to reconnect and to work with yourself and get to feel the body once again, like I say, and I say it a lot, it's going to get ugly before it gets good, but boy, is it rewarding, because it's the journey along the way that teaches you so much about yourself. And again, that creates internal strength within yourself, and that makes the body strong from the inside out.
Well, you talk about meditation. Is there any meditation that you can share with our viewers that they can start doing? Especially, a lot of people, they think meditation is sitting down for half an hour and not moving and keeping your mind blank. And most people are like, I don't have time for that, or that's not something I can do. I can't empty my mind. So is there something you can do that teach them that they can do that's not going to make them feel overwhelmed?
Absolutely. So like you said, meditation is not about stopping the mind. We cannot stop the mind. The mind is not meant to be stopped. The mind is meant to be, when you begin, you learn to observe the mind. Observing the mind, meaning you start noticing where your thoughts are constantly. And yes, the truth is, at the beginning, it's a little bit tough when you start to meditate, because you're starting to notice exactly where your mind is on a regular basis. So at the beginning, when you start, you can put a timer on for just 5 minutes. Just start with 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. And all you do is you just close your eyes. You can comfortably sit down. So, we can do this together right now. So all you would do is you would just put your hands on your knees, however way you want, just be comfortable. And then you just take a couple deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. And then from here, you would just start to soften your eyes and you would soften your face. And start to separate your eyebrows and soften your forehead. And just start noticing the top of your head softening. Start to soften your neck and soften your chest. And start to soften your arms all the way down to your fingertips. Start to soften your chest, your back. Start to soften your stomach. And exhale. And just invite your hips to soften a little bit more, your knees, your feet. And then you just bring your awareness to your breath. And you just start noticing how the breath is going in and out of the nostrils. And then just start to notice how the breath is moving in your chest. There's no right or wrong. There's just a moment of just observing how your body is right now. And then you just start to bring your attention around your head. And then you just start to bring the attention around your face, around your neck, all the while exhaling. Then you just start to scan down the body, down your arms, down your spine, down your legs. And then if you start noticing that the mind is starting to wander, just let the mind wander. But your attention now, you bring back to the breath. So every time that you would notice that the mind is wandering, you just take an inhale. And exhale, 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 exhale. And then you would keep doing that, just scanning the body from the head all the way down to your toes, from your toes all the way back up to your head, and all the while you breathe. And when you're ready to slowly come out of it, you would wiggle your fingers. You would take a deep inhale, long exhale. Slowly, you can bring your hands together. Just wrap the palms of your hands, create a little bit of heat. And you would just place that over your eyes. And you can slowly massage your face, your neck, your chest. And you're ready to start your day. And if you were wanting to do that in the evening, this is a great way, again, to settle yourself into the night. Just be mindful that when the mind ends up going all over the place at the beginning, it's very normal. And don't let that discourage you. As with anything, consistency and showing up is the key to any form of change that you're looking for. You know, and over time, just because you're showing up to yourself, it's going to accumulate and you're going to notice a shift. And over time, the more you keep this practice consistent, you're going to notice that your reactions to things won't be as quick, meaning that if you get triggered, your automatic reaction wouldn't be to attack back, but it would be now to take a step, take a breath, exhale, and observe before you would even react.
Yeah.
And this ends up just becoming a byproduct of showing up to your meditation practice every day.
So true. It's so true. This has been unbelievable. I'm so glad that you went to the library that day and got hit in the head.
You and I both.
Look, I'm glad it wasn't a huge volume hardcover. Thank you, Norman Vincent Peale, for that. You are such honestly a gift, such a gift to this world, and I'm so glad that you found your purpose and are sharing that light with others. So thank you so much for being
here.
Really,
it's my pleasure.
Yeah,
you have such a calming energy about you. It just you are made for what you do. It's very beautiful.
Thank you so much, ladies. It's very humbling to hear. Thank you. It's been a journey. It's been a learning journey along the way, and I'm here to serve any which way that I can. So I just follow that guidance. Thank you.
So quickly before we go, where can people find you, Shiva?
Yes, absolutely. So they can find us on our website at alchemyforhumanity.com. You can also find us.
Alchemy.
Yes, so it's alchemy number 4. Thank you. Alchemy number 4 humanity.com. Alchemyforhumanity.com. They can also find me on Facebook under my name, Shiva Golzadeh, or on our studio page at Crystal Alchemy Studio.
Great. Well, thank you so much again. And thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much.